Okay, thanks, Mary. Just before I start, I have a small confession. So this is actually my very first time attending Lead Dev, let alone presenting here. And when I submitted my CFP for presenting, I somehow thought it would be about 300 or 400 people. I didn't really quite understand the scale of this event. So I just want to say a big thank you to Mary and the organizers for having me. And thank you to all of you for being here. The view from here is amazing, honestly. Okay, so the full quote that my talk title is based on is, "In teamwork, silence isn't golden, it's deadly." Now, this is one of those things that I was scrolling through Twitter, and I saw this image was there, and normally I skip through these things, but when I saw this one, it really resonated with me, and it made me think about my team, and who's in my team, and who do I hear the most from, and who do I not hear very much from. So let me talk a little bit about myself, first of all. So my name is Paula Kennedy. As Mary said, I work at Pivotal. I think my speaker bio probably says I'm a director, but I recently got promoted to senior director, which was very exciting. Thank you. My pronouns are she, her. I'm based here in London, so I didn't have too far to travel to come here today. The team I'm in, so I'm actually now looking after two teams, but the one I want to speak about today is my Pivotal Cloud Foundry Solutions team. So for those of you that don't know Pivotal or don't know what we do, our main product is a cloud-native application platform called Pivotal Cloud Foundry. And my team are the folks that if you buy our software, my team will come out on site to your location. We're across Europe. We'll come out on site. We'll teach you how to install the platform, but we'll also teach you how to run it, how to scale it, and we'll talk about the practices that Pivotal really believe in. So those are things like user-centered design, product management, lean and agile. We'll teach all of those things to the infrastructure team that are running the platform. And one of my great colleagues, Denise Yu, she is a fantastic sketch noter. She drew this lovely diagram that just kind of talks about our offerings and the kind of things that we do. We talk about a dojo is one of our services, which is basically the name that we give to our engagement, and we do platform health checks and a whole bunch of other things. So, what's my problem? At Pivotal, we run a pulse survey every 6 months. We run it for the whole company, so it's essentially a questionnaire, and it's for everybody. So we have 3,000 people at Pivotal across 27 offices, and everybody gets asked to complete this survey. It asks all kinds of questions, like, what do you think about your leadership? Do you understand the company mission? Would you recommend Pivotal as a place to work for your friends, etc.? And then the results get anonymized, but each leader of a team gets a kind of a scorecard about how their team is feeling. So the last time we ran this, the place that my team scored the lowest was on this question. At Pivotal, I feel I am part of a team that works together. And as you can see, around about a third of my team did not feel that they were part of a team that works together, which made me quite sad, honestly. But then I started thinking about why might that be? So as I mentioned, my team goes on site to customers to help them with our software. There's around 20 people in my team right now, and they're distributed all across Europe. And most of them aren't even close to a Pivotal office. In Europe, I think we have 4 or 5 offices, and most of my team don't go into an office. So if they're not on a customer project, then generally speaking, they're at home on their own, and they're wholly distributed. So it's not that surprising that they might not feel like they're part of one team. When we do go on a customer engagement, what happens is typically 4 or 5 of the team will come together, they'll be assembled, and they'll go on site for 4, 6, 8 weeks, something like that, and then they're done. It's a little bit similar to what Steve talked about yesterday in his RNLI talk, apart from we're not saving lives, but we come together as a small team. We go do our thing, and then that team gets dispersed again. So, in response to the survey results, we've spent the last few months as a team and I've spent the few months as a leader trying to figure out what we can do about this. Like, how can we improve? How can we grow a sense of team, even when my team's not together and we don't see each other very often? So I'm going to talk to you about a few things we've tried, a few different experiments, and I've loosely grouped them together under these kind of headings: communication, trust, and culture. And these are things that you might want to try. They might also work for teams that are co-located, but we've tried these things with our remote team. So let's think about communication first. One of the most important things that I emphasize to all of my managers is that we have to do one-to-ones. The problem with a distributed team, or one problem, is that you can't just walk past someone and see if they're struggling. You can't tell if someone's having a bad day because you can't see them. And so we have a culture in our team of everybody gets a one-to-one with their manager every single week. It's the most important meeting. If you don't attend any other meeting for the whole week, that's the meeting that you go to. As a team, we do a weekly stand-up. I mean, we say it's a stand-up, we're sitting down mostly, but it's our stand-up. We use kind of an internal whiteboard tool, and these are the topics that we talk about every week. So this is for 30 minutes every week. We use Zoom as our kind of method of communication. But everybody dials in. We talk about any new faces into the team. We have a section for helps. So if anyone needs help with anything or they're uncertain about something, everyone can post on this board and we talk about it. We talk about interestings, something that somebody's learned, something they've seen on the news. People can post anything that they like. And then events, so anything coming up, any conferences someone's speaking at, updates on a project that they're working on. And one thing we do is we have a person that facilitates this session each week, and we take it in turns. In particular, we try to make sure that those people that maybe don't speak up that often on these team calls have to facilitate the team call. So it's trying to encourage a culture that everybody has to speak up. Recently, we've started playing around with a weekly Teach Me Something. So we've added 30 minutes to our team call, and this is trying to replicate on a remote basis the same concept as a lunch and learn or a brown bag session. We can't all get together in a room and have our lunch together. So instead, again, we use Zoom, and we take it in turns. We can volunteer. People volunteer to teach something. This is one of my team teaching us about how he does computer graphics, which honestly was really interesting. People can talk about anything. They can teach us about something that's relevant to our day job or their hobby. I mean, this is Florent's hobby. Another thing we've introduced is a monthly retrospective. So it was mentioned a couple of times yesterday how important retrospectives are. Anyone who's ever worked with Pivotal will know that we love a retrospective. We do them all the time. But in our team now, we've started taking 1 hour a month to do a team retro. And what that means is we look back at everything that's happened in the past month, and we talk about things that went really well, things that didn't go so well, and questions or things we might want to change or things we might want to experiment with. We use this tool, which is Post Facto, which is a Pivotal tool that's now open source. But it's a really good way of just reflecting over the past month to try to drive continuous improvement. So we take actions, and then we review those actions each month as well to check that we're making progress. We've recently tried to add in a virtual offsite. So one challenge we have in our team, we love coming together and being together and actually having that chance to communicate face-to-face. But because there's so many of us in so many locations, it's costly, obviously, to fly everyone somewhere. So we've been doing this virtual offsite, which essentially means everybody dials into Zoom for an entire day, which I know sounds awful, being on a Zoom call for a whole day, but it's not too bad. So we structure it like you would any kind of offsite. We have a full agenda. We'll have coffee breaks. We have a lunch break. We have guest speakers that come and do sessions for us. But we try to make it as much like a real offsite as possible. We might finish it off with a happy hour at the end where we'll all just have a drink and a chat. And we do this once a quarter. And we've done it, I think, twice so far, and the feedback's been really good, really positive from the team. So those are the type of communication things that we have. Thinking about how we build trust in our team. So at some of those sessions, at some of those Teach Me Somethings, at some of those virtual offsites, we have sessions that talk about things important to our team, not just the technical work, but the actual things that help us build trust. So we had a session a while ago that somebody else from Pivotal came and facilitated for us, which was on psychological safety, which a couple of people, again, have mentioned over the last 2 days. But the session that we had, it was facilitated by someone from external to our team, and we basically talked about the topic. We did some role plays, we answered some questions, and it was a way for lots of our people in our team, especially me as the leader, to be vulnerable and to really try to build that sense of psychological safety, and for all of us to think about how we contribute to the psychological safety in our team. And that went really well. One of our team, James, he volunteers for the Samaritans, which is a charity in the UK. And he gave a session to all of the team about active listening, which was something that he had been taught through his work on the Samaritans. And that's actually quite hard. I don't know if again, any of you have tried a workshop on this, but one of the activities we did, we had to have a one-to-one with the person and actually let that person talk for 5 minutes without saying a single thing, and actively listening, which was really challenging, but again, really good for our team to think about how we listen to each other, as well as how we interact with other teams and with customers. Most recently, we had a talk from someone else in the team, Jordan. He talked about mindful communication. And really, the sort of emphasis of that talk was how to bring alignment, how to bring people who've got different points of view together to reach consensus, and how to try and convince somebody on your point of view, which was, again, really helpful, particularly when we go on site with a customer and we try to talk about changing practices, and that can be hard. So it's about how to kind of communicate things that you're thinking about to someone who may not agree with you. I gave a talk to the team quite recently about resilience. So we had a customer project that wasn't going very well, and a couple of the team were really starting to struggle with, I'd say, burnout. They were feeling very frustrated, they were starting to get demotivated. And so what we did was we took a couple of people off the project just for a couple of days to give them a break. And then I gave a talk about resilience, which I won't go into the whole talk now, but essentially it was about separating the work from the person. So it's about not beating yourself up if a project's going badly, and actually having the sort of strength of character that you can, again, it's one of those things you can practice to actually bounce back and not get too disheartened. So other things that we've tried to do with our team culture. Obviously, coming together in person is one of the strongest ways we've had of actually getting to know each other. So when we come together, this is when we came together last year in London, and we did some socializing. And not everybody likes all the same things. I mean, I am personally a big fan of karaoke, but I'd say most of my team are not, honestly. But when we come together, it's fun. So we hang out, we'll do an offsite with a similar kind of agenda to our virtual offsite. But we'll go out and eat food together and try and spend some time together. You can see in this photo that the lovely Phil is modeling the T-shirts that we had printed for our event last year. We also got some stickers. So something that Pivotal likes a lot is pair programming. So we printed out a bunch of stickers with our team logo and pairing is caring. Sadly, we didn't have any socks. I thought that was a great idea from Rebecca's talk yesterday. So I think we'll steal that for next time. A thing we have introduced is a team mascot, and I wouldn't say we introduced it intentionally, actually. What happened was one of our team is a big fan of geese, which sounds odd and is, but is also charming. But one of the things that we have to do as a team is when we go on site to a customer, we'll start an engagement with an inception meeting. We bring all stakeholders together, and we set out the goals and the anti-goals, and we have a whole 2-day inception meeting. And that can have a lot of people. If we've got security, and we've got compliance, and we've got senior stakeholders, that can have 20, 30 people all in a room. And it's hard to facilitate that size of group. So what we've introduced is the talking goose, and I wish I'd brought one with me. When I saw the Kiwi on stage earlier, I was kicking myself. But the talking goose is basically one of those little beanie geese. It's lightweight enough that you can throw it around the room, and if it accidentally hits you in the head, it doesn't hurt. But we use it like a talking stick, if anyone's familiar with that concept. So whoever has the goose is allowed to talk, basically. And so we've introduced this as part of our inception kit. When we incept a customer meeting, the goose gets ordered and gets sent along with all the stickies and the Sharpies and everything else. A little goose goes as well. And so it's become this accidental team mascot that other teams in Pivotal will kind of understand that geese is associated with our team, which is fairly random. But of course, the geese have got their own Slack channel now. So you can go on the Talking Goose Slack channel, you can see photographs of the geese at all different customer sites doing crazy things. Other things, so I mentioned already, as part of our virtual offsites, or sometimes if we're celebrating something for the team, we'll do a virtual coffee break or a virtual happy hour. Basically, we'll take 30 minutes at the end of a day, we'll all come together on a Zoom call, and we'll just talk. Like, there's no agenda, there's no topics, we'll just chit-chat. Can be quite fun. Something else we really strive for in our team is giving recognition to each other, and we do it in as public a way as we possibly can. So if we're on an engagement and you see that someone's really doing a great job, or they gave a whiteboarding session to a customer and they did a really good job, it doesn't really matter what the thing is. We try to post in our Slack channel just congratulations to each other or shout-outs to each other. And we send a weekly email that goes out to the whole of the Europe team. And again, we call each other out for really good things, and we try to celebrate our successes as publicly as possible. We also try to celebrate things that are outside of work achievements. So I ran London Marathon last year, which I actually can't quite imagine how I did that. But anyway, I ran the London Marathon last year, and my team were really supportive. They were supportive in the training when I was getting quite stressed out. They were supportive after I had completed the race. And so we try to support each other and talk about things outside, just as a way of getting to know each other. So one of my team member, James, who is the big fan of geese, he got married a couple of weeks ago. So we've been, as a team, collecting money for his local swan rescue charity in Yorkshire as his wedding present. So that was a list of a whole bunch of things that we have tried in our team. And the question is, are these things working? So our newest team member joined a few months ago. And after a short amount of time, he gave the feedback that said he was impressed by the strong sense of team, especially since we're all remote. Now, he wasn't in the team when we did the pulse survey. So I was really pleased to see that. I don't know if he was actually bribed by somebody else to say that. But it was the exact feedback I was hoping for, and that was the feedback we got, which was really encouraging. But that's not to say that everything we've tried in the last few months has gone well. So what didn't work? So one accidental consequence is that we tried so hard as the Europe team to develop our sense of team culture that we accidentally excluded the whole rest of the world. And we got feedback, particularly from the North America's team, that they felt completely excluded from some of the things that we were talking about, and some of our practices and some of the things. So that was an unintended consequence of trying to drive so hard for our culture that we just excluded everybody else. We also accidentally ended up creating some silos. So in our team, we have product managers, we have solutions architects, and we have reliability engineers. And we went down a path at one point of each of those groups of people having their own Slack channel, which then created 3 teams within one team, which felt really siloed and really awkward. And so we've tried very hard to smooth that out and have a culture of we're just one team. We're all working together. We're all trying to solve customer problems. We don't need to be separate. Even if our practices might be slightly different, we're all trying to work together to achieve one thing. We also tried doing a book club. So the book that we wanted to discuss as a team was Radical Candor by Kim Scott, which is a great book. The problem we had was the concept of doing a book club didn't really work for our team. So because we're distributed, we've got time zones to contend with. We also found that sometimes people are on the bench when they're not on a project, so they have time to read the chapters and they have time to dial into the calls and talk about things. And then some people get pulled into a project and suddenly don't have time and can't do the work and can't dial into the call. So as a concept, I think doing a book club is actually a great thing. It just didn't really work for our team. OKRs. So I loved Whitney's talk yesterday. I loved it. And it's so funny because I actually presented an update to my team just last week on our team OKRs. And it turns out that our OKRs aren't awesome, actually. Even as I was presenting them to the team as kind of an update of where we are, it occurred to me, and the team gave feedback, honestly, but it became apparent that the OKRs don't necessarily match with what we're trying to achieve, which was interesting. And so I am going to be reflecting hard on the comments from Whitney yesterday to think how I can improve the OKRs for our team. So, what's next? On the positive side, like I say, we've definitely made some improvements. We've had some good feedback, and things are going pretty well. But one thing I've learned is not to be complacent. So just because my team might feel healthy today does not mean it will be healthy tomorrow, or next week, or next month. Things can change. So people's personal circumstances can change. You could do a new customer project where the customer could have some serious issues that impact on the health of your team. So it's about, for me right now, continuing all of the good things that have worked, as well as always thinking about what else we need to do, and particularly paying attention to those quiet voices. So reflecting back to my talk title, it's easy for me to pay attention as the leader to those people that contact me, or talk to me, or message me. And it's easy to not pay attention to those quiet people, because I don't see them. They're not sitting behind me or around me. And so for me, it's about constantly trying to pay attention to all of the team and the team health, and just trying to keep up these practices and make sure that the team stays healthy. I'm also looking for any other ideas. So I've shared with you the things that we've tried and the ideas that we've had, but I'd imagine there's lots of people here who've got fully distributed teams. So if other people have got ideas of things that you've tried that worked or didn't work, then I'm really interested to hear ideas. I'll be doing the office hours straight after this, or you can message me on Twitter. I'd be really open to hearing anything that anyone else has got. Thank you.